Athens Lunatic Asylum. The Athens Lunatic Asylum operated from 1874 to 1993. The asylum housed many Civil War vets, misdiagnosed women, and even children. In fact, the first ever patient was a 14-year-old girl who suffered from epilepsy. She was thought to be possessed by a demon. Many women were institutionalized, with the top 3 reasons being puerperal condition, change of life, and menstrual derangement. Postpartum depression, or hysteria, was another common illness. Records document the use of many discredited forms of treatment for patients, including hydrotherapy, electroshock, and lobotomy. Some patients were also given drugs since proven unsafe and ineffective. Nearly 2,000 people died in the asylum. 3 graveyards still remain on the 1,000 acres where the 70-plus buildings of the asylum once sat. Over 1,700 of the graves are marked with only a number. With so many deaths, it seems certain that many of the tortured souls still roam the Gothic structures that housed them in their tragic lives. Mudhouse Mansion, or the Hartman House, Fairfield County, Ohio. Built in the mid-1800s, the Mudhouse Mansion was a plantation-type building which gained a reputation for being haunted. Also known as the Hartman House, named for a family who owned the house for a time, many myths and mysteries surround the property. One popular story says that after the Civil War, a government official continued to house slaves illegally. He would lock them in the cellar at night. On a desperate summer's night, one of the slaves escaped by digging his way out, and then, he murdered the entire family inside the home. It is also said that many years later, another large group living in the house died from either mass murder or mass suicide. Perhaps the most frightening myth surrounding Mudhouse Mansion is that this is where the story of the children's game, Bloody Mary, got its origin. Many testify that a woman who lived in the house murdered all of her children, and that she, her husband, and her children haunted the building until its destruction in 2015. Now, locals insist that they still haunt the land the Mudhouse Mansion once sat on. Franklin Castle, or the Tiedemann House, Cleveland, Ohio. Built in the late 19th century, Franklin Castle, also known as the Tiedemann House, is considered by many to be the most haunted place in Ohio. Constructed for Hans Tiedemann and his family, the 20-plus room palace seemed to be cursed early on, as Tiedemann's 14-year-old daughter died from complications of diabetes. Shortly thereafter, Tiedemann's elderly mother died in the home. Over the next 3 years, the Tiedemanns would have 3 more children die. Hoping to ease the suffering of his wife, Tiedemann began adding many additions to the home, including an elegant ballroom, statues, and Gothic gargoyles, giving the place a more castle-like appearance. Louise Tiedemann died of a liver disease in 1895 at 57 years aged. By 1908, the entire Tiedemann family had died, leaving behind extensive wealth with no heir. Those who have lived, or stayed in the castle since, report many sightings of ghosts or spirits, along with unusual happenings inside. Franklin Castle has been investigated by many ghost hunters, with various results. Moonville Tunnel, Zelensky State Forest, Ohio. In 1886, the Marietta and Cincinnati Railroad agreed to build a tunnel on the property of Samco to ease his access of shipping coal and make a direct route from Marietta to Cincinnati. This railway aided in the forming of a small mining community called Moonville. It is told that a miner, walking home one night, was struck by a train, instantly dying in the tunnel. After the mines stopped producing in the early 1900s, Moonville was abandoned, becoming a literal ghost town. All that remains today of Moonville is an old cemetery, the foundation of a schoolhouse, and the Moonville Tunnel. Many bicyclists and hikers have found hiking the old abandoned railway to be fun recreation. There are many who claim to have seen an old lantern light in the tunnel, saying it is the ghost of the miner who was killed on that lonely night. Others say they have heard sounds of railroad workers pounding spikes into the heart of the possessed earth along the trail. So it may be safe to assume the old community of Moonville is yet another haunted Ohio town.